Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back to your daily crypto news and analysis. And today, we're going to be talking about Hedera Hbar. So with that being said, I hope that you were all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night, wherever you guys are out there in the world. So, the overall market is looking as though we're kind of in the beginning stages of alt season. And we're not exactly there. It hasn't exactly started. And the big thing everyone is looking at is, are we about to repeat the summer of 2020? Now, for a lot of you out there that weren't around during 2020, DeFi summer took this market by storm. And I would even argue that it actually brought a ton of new investors and the retail crowd into crypto. Ultimately speaking, if we look at a few things, we have amid giant crypto rally, hopes for another DeFi summer soar. If we scroll down, we have DeFi yields have exceeded yields from conventional investments like US Treasuries, raising hopes for rekindled interest and maybe another DeFi summer. Now, when we really think about this, right, look at what's been recently happening around tokenization endeavors. Majority of it is fully focused on traditional investment vehicles like, for an example, US Treasuries. So it would make sense if we started to see a big move from traditional to DeFi initiatives like tokenized treasuries. But also we have MakerDAO's DAI savings rate provides users with a 15% yield, while riskier corners of DeFi can earn 27% through the likes of Athena Labs. The bull market saw prices slowly starting going up, and now 2 months later, it's completely opposite again in terms of looking at rates in DeFi and TradFi, one expert said. Now, outside of all of this, right, why was DeFi summer such a big deal? Like, was it really that massive in terms of the moves made? And I would be the first one to tell you that yes, it was. In fact, it was absolutely insane. But go back over here, we could see how big DeFi summer was. By most measures, DeFi exceeded expectations as the TVL, the total value locked, grew from $700 million to $15 billion during the DeFi summer. This was a 2,100% increase. That's insane. DeFi saw a huge expansion in critical infrastructure, including borrowing and lending, decentralized exchanges, yield farming, and insurance. Now, what also happened was DeFi tokens and the networks powering those tokens, and even most of the DeFi space started to actually see a lot of the decentralized exchange tokens and things like that going crazy. When we think about this, right, I do think that SOS, which is SushiSwap, the token on Hedera, is going to be a big deal. But also, when we think about how massive DeFi itself will be, I do think that it's going to cause a lot of network adoption and also demand. And I don't think that it's going to be Ethereum that wins this. Why? Well, let's actually look into a few things. So there was a recent breakdown of Hedera's DeFi ecosystem, and it was from Masari Crypto. And we have Hedera's DeFi ecosystem is off to a big start in 2024. This success is primarily attributed to the launch of SushiSwap v2, which introduced concentrated liquidity, important tokenomic changes, and more. Now, the reason why I say that people should be holding SOS is because if we go back over to that article, down here, they told us about Uniswap. Uniswap also issued its governance token, Uni, to every wallet that interacted with the platform, an airdrop valued at $1,200. Now, that airdrop was $1,200. Okay, that led to the airdrop being valued at almost $30,000 near the end of DeFi summer and also the bull run. Airdrops during the DeFi craze, right, start to become very, very valuable. But remember, this is Uniswap, which is a decentralized exchange on Ethereum. If we're talking about Hedera's DeFi ecosystem looking like this already, and again, the retail crowd is not even here yet, imagine how valuable SushiSwap will be, considering the fact that it is the primary source of all of this value. And remember, SushiSwap already increased share of TVL to over 98% in this time frame, which is crazy to think about. But also, big shout out to Shane Higdon from the Hbar Foundation. He put out a full breakdown of the full list from the Messari deep dive. And we have incredible progress. Proud of this ecosystem. Hedera DeFi TVL is up 146% year to date to $157 million. DeFi TVL denominated in HBAR is also up 89% year to date, implying that the TVL increase was in part due to capital inflows. And then also, SauceSwap's V2 launch in November of 2023 has helped the DEX achieve impressive growth, with Sauce price 21 cents, TVL 150 million, and average daily trading volume at $5 million, all hitting all-time highs in 2024. Stablecoin market cap has continued to increase in 2024 after a strong Q4. The supply of USDC on Hedera is up 27% year to date to 8 million. State or liquid staking TVL on Hedera has been decreasing in 2024, down 11% year to date from 378.6 million HBAR to 338.1 million. But regardless of just TVL and things like that, I will say this, right? One of the biggest things that I'm waiting for in terms of Hedera is bringing in very, very big volumes of tokenized endeavors and even launching tokenization endeavors. Like, for example, tokenized US treasuries or something similar to that. We do know that real estate tokenization is heating up on Hedera, but I would also like to see some other things happening as well. We also know that with Aberdeen, the money market fund is tokenized with Hedera. That's a big one. But I would like to see some other endeavors as well. But beyond this, right, if we go to DeFi currently, this is the entire TVL of DeFi itself. And again, I just want to take you guys back to this rally over here in terms of DeFi summer. So this is what it looked like. And they even said 700 million to 15 billion, a 2100% increase. We're not looking at a 2100% increase here, but we're already at almost $85 billion. And this chart is telling us, hey, we're breaking out in a big way. We might just be at this point here in terms of September of 2021, but I do think that it's more likely that we're at this point back here in May, or possibly even just the beginning of the DeFi summer move. Either way, it doesn't matter. The big thing to focus on here is the fact that this will continue to go even higher. I do think that this is going to make a new all-time high. Again, a lot of these statistics, you could technically say, hey, they'll go into price discovery and go absolutely crazy. I would argue that TVL could possibly even hit the $1 trillion mark this cycle, which would be absolutely insane, considering the fact that when we look at where most of the volume is coming from, it is Ethereum. It is, right? But there is also other chains that are starting to catch up to Ethereum in terms of TVL. We can actually see down here that Hedera is sitting at number 41. It is down significantly. It's down to about $151.75 million in terms of TVL. We actually know over here that it recently did hit an all-time high of almost 200 million, which is still pretty significant considering the fact that, you know, Hedera is still an underdog, if you will, in terms of the DeFi space. But if we look at some of these other chains on here and other networks, you could clearly see that some of them are starting to wake up in a very, very big way. I don't think that they're necessarily going to flip Ethereum this cycle because, again, we're still kind of early on with that. But we are going to start to see some of the money flowing from Ethereum into these other protocols. But also, once the retail crowd is back, they're not going to be looking at Ethereum. Why? Because of gas fees, right? They don't want to pay absurd gas fees on Ethereum. But why do I think that Hedera is going to move up the ranks on this list and possibly hit some very, very high figures? Well, it's because of what Hedera has been fully focused on. In terms of DeFi, if you go over to the Hedera website, you could actually go under the DeFi use case and see why Hedera is a star player in terms of DeFi. But also, if we go down here, we could actually see that there's been over 8,155 active smart contracts deployed on Hedera. And we also see over on the right side that 53,310 smart contract transactions were made in just the last 24 hours. Now, you can clearly see down here some of the DeFi initiatives that are built out on Hedera and also already live on Hedera. Like I said, tokenization is a big deal. Toko is a big one that is actually on Hedera, but we also have the DEX offerings. We have smart contract DeFi on Hedera as well. And then also over here, you can clearly see the rest of the applications. Now, there is a lot more that are not being mentioned on here, like for example, some of the recent endeavors, which I think are some big ones to focus on, considering the fact that it is also going to push and propel Hedera into a much larger spotlight. And what am I talking about? Well, we've talked about it slightly on the channel already, but like Python Network, for an example, is allowing DeFi initiatives and developers to unlock even better data feeds, which is a big deal. And all of this is to really kind of provide a much better DeFi ecosystem and environment for developers, users, builders, you name it. And this could definitely allow for a lot more DeFi initiatives to launch and build out on Hedera in a very big way, which I'm very excited about. Now, also outside of this, recently on March 21st, we did get the announcement of Ichi with SushiSwap, which also was another big deal for the DeFi ecosystem. And when we go over to SushiSwap Labs, again, they also put a spotlight on the overall gas fees. When we think about everything that is happening, right, we are starting to see DeFi expansions happening pretty much all the time now on Hedera. In the last couple months alone, Hedera has been really kind of becoming a star in terms of the DeFi world. Now, are they a massive one, like for an example, Solana or any of these other ones on here that have, billions of dollars in TVL? Not exactly yet, but I do think that we're getting there slowly but surely. And, if we go back to 2021 when Hedera first started their DeFi initiatives, they launched their first DeFi application on the network back in 2021 to now, it's night and day. And I will say this, Hedera is starting to become a contender with some of the larger players out there. I do know that recently we're kind of catching up to ADA, but recently ADA did push beyond, most of the market, and they're already at about $500 and almost $61 million in terms of TVL. But I do think that Hedera is going to wake up in a very large way and possibly even flip some of these names. Now, I don't know if we're going to flip Cardano, but I do think that we can get pretty close, especially considering the fact that DeFi on Hedera is starting to heat up in a very large way. We're starting to see expansions. And also, like I said, SushiSwap doing $300 million in 30 days in terms of volume is something very significant. And when we think about this, right, that was over 700,000 plus transactions via the Hedera smart contract service. And on Ethereum, assuming an $80 gas fee, this would incur $56 million in just fees alone, making it over 1,000 times costlier than Hedera. And like I said, this is a big statistic to think about when we are talking about the retail sector. Most people are not going to want to pay $80 per gas fee to make a transaction on Ethereum when they can come over to Hedera and utilize something like SushiSwap and pay a fraction of a penny in terms of fees. So when we think about what's happening right now, do I think that we are going to experience another DeFi summer? I do think that we're starting to kind of pick up in terms of DeFi traction. One of the biggest things I've been really kind of focused on is just the DeFi chart itself. I do think that this is going to make another leg up very soon. And if we actually look at the trading volume in the last 24 hours, I do think that this is going to be a big focus point from the retail sector. And I do think that this is going to see a large amount of money coming in. But also, even when we look at the categories, you could clearly see where a lot of this growth is coming from. Right now, the main driver is actually lending, which is a big deal. Liquid staking is also another one. And a big area that I've been really fully focused on is RWAs, real world assets, which continues to grow at a tremendous rate. Now, I know that this recently just dropped in a big way. It was at about roughly almost $6 billion. And I think that this might be a glitch because it's all the way back down to about roughly 1.55 billion. This might be a glitch, but we were nearing a new all-time high on this chart, which again, if we actually think about RWAs or real-world assets, I think that this is only going to continue to grow and grow and grow in demand, considering the fact that we are starting to see more and more tokenization endeavors happening outside of crypto in the traditional financial world, and that's going to bring in a lot more money and a lot more names over time. And I'm very excited to see what happens going forward on in terms of DeFi, in terms of the entire space, and I'm very excited to see where Hedera is at the end of the day. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.